This week's episode is sure to bring a blast of nostalgia to the 20-somethings in the audience. This week's game is Cardcaptor Sakura Sakura to Fushigi na Kuro Kado, an RPG of sorts based on the Cardcaptor Sakura franchise that many of us grew up with. It was developed by Sims, published by Bandai, and released on December 2nd, 1999. While we will need to address Sims again in a few more episodes as they become more important to the WonderSwan's lineup in the year 2000, you can find out more about them by referring back to episode 6 about Digital Monster vs. WonderSwan, their first game on the system. Cardcaptor Sakura is a highly influential magical girl manga series which ran in the manga magazine Nakayoshi from May 1996 to June 2000. Sakura Kinomoto, an elementary school student, accidentally frees a bunch of magical cards from the book that held them. Those cards are called Clow cards, cards which contain a unique magical power. They can also manifest themselves physically as their own personification, and if Sakura defeats that personification, she can seal the card back into the book and use those abilities with her magic wand. She sets out to reclaim those cards to avoid an unknown catastrophe from taking place. While the manga is certainly worthy of praise on its own, Cardcaptor Sakura really became huge as an anime. Even though it was targeting elementary school children as its main audience, there was a little something for everyone to enjoy. It's typical for magical girl anime to reuse transformation or spellcasting sequences several dozen times throughout a whole season, even nowadays, but Sakura stood out by having different, very intricate costume designs for each card capture. The artwork quality was above and beyond what people had been expecting from anime in the late 90s. Many of us grew up watching the Nelvana adaptation of the Cardcaptor Sakura anime, called Cardcaptors, in the early 2000s. This was a heavily edited adaptation to begin with, leaving out large chunks of characters' background that are crucial to understanding the plot. When broadcast on Kids WB, it was edited even further. The justification given for those edits was that they wanted to make the series more appealing to boys because they were seen as larger consumers of animation. Of course, maybe girls would be bigger viewers of animation shows if shows intended for them didn't explicitly get edited to cater to boys, but that's a whole other can of worms. I called this an RPG of sorts in the intro, and while the comparison is unlikely to resonate with most of you, I'd put it on the same playing field as Sega's Sakura Taisen, which has no relation to this Sakura. Sakura Taisen is a strategy RPG about a musical theater troupe, but the bulk of the story is told in a visual novel format. This game applies the same approach to the Monster Collection RPG genre, which so far has yet to really disappoint in any way on the WonderSwan. Except this time, instead of capturing monsters, you're gathering Clow cards, granting Sakura their powers in the next battle. Throughout the game, you're alternating between visual novel sequences with Sakura's friends and family, RPG-like battle sequences to seal Clow cards, and brief sections where the player gets to choose which location they wish to go to next. All of this makes the game primarily an alternate, condensed, and interactive retelling of the original Clow card storyline of the series. This game has a branching path structure, which means that of the 47 Clow cards you can collect throughout the game, you aren't going to be able to gather all of them in a single playthrough. Given that the game is about 2.5 hours long to play through end to end, this is probably meant to increase replay value. To spice things up a bit, there are some brand new Clow cards that weren't in the original manga run or the anime for you to collect. Aside from the single-player mode, you can put together a deck of Clow cards you've assembled by yourself, and duel against another friend via the WonderSwan communication cable. The presentation in this game is fairly good, with some good tunes here and there, and battle sequences are rather well drawn. I was curious and looked around for player reviews of this game written around the time of its release, and I couldn't find any that were explicitly negative. At a base level, this is an average game with above-average presentation for the WonderSwan, but you're likely to enjoy it even more if you're a big Cardcaptor Sakura fan. Putting aside the language barrier, which is likely to be the biggest obstacle to many who are viewing this, given the short length of a playthrough, there's no real excuse for any Japanese literate Sakura fan not to give this a shot.